Sure. Here's a rewritten and rephrased version of the article with a clearer, more structured narrative while keeping the original tone and critique. How did we end up here? The trade debate is completely backwards. The national conversation around trade has taken a bizarre turn, so much so that the fundamental premise of the debate is built on a falsehood, the idea that in every trade, someone has to lose. This misconception drives a narrative that countries like China or Japan are somehow ripping us off. But that's just not how trade works. In a truly free market, trade is mutually beneficial. If I buy a coat from you for $200, it's because I value the coat more than the money, and you value the money more than the coat. That's a win-win. No American consumer is trading directly with China, they're trading with Walmart, Target, or Amazon, and making choices that benefit them. That's how voluntary trade works. Everyone walks away better off. Yes, you can create artificial accounting like trade deficit between countries, but that's a shallow way to look at the situation. I have a trade deficit with my local grocery store. I buy food there every week, but they don't buy anything from me. Does that mean I'm being exploited? Of course not. Trade deficits shrink during recessions because people are buying less. So if your policy goal is to reduce the trade deficit, congratulations, you're advocating for a weaker economy. The real question isn't whether we have a trade deficit, but whether trade itself is good or bad. And on this point, even some unlikely voices are aligned. Rand Paul, yes, that Rand Paul, has it right. Trump's entire argument is based on a flawed understanding that trade deficits are inherently harmful, as though they signal American weakness or victimhood. But a trade deficit simply means that Americans are buying more goods from abroad than foreign nations are buying from us. That's it. Sometimes, that's due to necessity. Some countries grow or manufacture things we can't, due to geography or climate. We buy those things. That's not a rip-off, it's practical. And if those countries don't need or can't afford what we're selling, we don't retaliate by slapping tariffs on them to punish them. That just makes life more expensive for us. Let's be honest, if both Rand Paul and I think this policy is absurd, we're probably not the only ones. Larry Kudlow, Trump's former economic advisor, even pointed out that under pro-growth policies like tax cuts and deregulation, America is likely to grow faster than most of the world, which naturally leads to a trade deficit. Faster growth means more buying power. That's not a problem. That's success. So why are we penalizing every country based on a flawed metric? Case in point, Australia. We have a trade surplus with them. We also have a free trade agreement. They're a key national security ally. And yet, they got hit with tariffs too. Why? Because they don't buy our pork and beef. Since when does a trade surplus not qualify you for exemption from tariffs? The Trump administration's strategy seems less like a plan and more like chaos. It's not about fair trade, it's about moving the goalposts, imposing arbitrary demands, and punishing both friend and foe alike. Even when countries do what we ask, we just ask for more. This isn't negotiation. This is coercion. It signals to the world that the United States is not a reliable partner. That we're not dealing in good faith. And that's exactly why, while Trump boasts about how other countries are dying to make deals with us, the reality is quite different. The EU is imposing counter-tariffs. China is negotiating new trade pacts with Japan and South Korea, without us. Instead of strengthening our position in the world, these policies are isolating us. At a time when China is rising in global influence, we're pushing our allies straight into their arms. This isn't just bad policy, it's a historic disaster. According to Navigator Research, Trump's negative media coverage has reached new highs, largely driven by his misguided tariff policies. These tariffs amount to one of the largest tax hikes on American consumers since the 1960s. The markets responded accordingly. The Dow plummeted over 1,000 points, the S&P fell more than 3%, and the Nasdaq dropped nearly 4.5%. Trade wars are not easy to win. They're not good. And without a coherent plan, they're just reckless. Trump keeps calling his trade policy legendary, but even he seems to realize how badly it's going. His frantic spin and showmanship are signs of weakness, not strength. He knows he's losing support, even among his base, which is why he's performing like a carnival barker trying to keep the crowd from leaving the tent. The irony is rich. Trump always said he would unite the country. Well, he has, just not in the way he imagined. When Rand Paul, Ben Shapiro, Larry Kudlow, Dave Portnoy, and the entire left are all on the same page, it's probably worth paying attention. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version, or if you'd like this adapted into an op-ed or script.